Yadvid Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. Sounds like someone's eating quavers. Someone's munching on crisps out there.
It's too hot to have any quavers.
So,
you mute everyone.
yeah, unless you want to ask a question to make it a bit more quieter. Okay, so here we go. Now, what I've done, because we missed some questions last week, I didn't have much time last week, so I was frantically typing in the questions, and I missed some questions. So we go back on these, and here's the questions which we missed. So then we went here. So let's cover those questions. And for those of you who are following, I can gather that some of you are following in the Sudha Bhakti Chintamani, the actual questions themselves. So what I've done, I've reverted to numbering of the questions, which you can find in Sudha Bhakti Chintamani, so that you can better, if you're looking up for the answers, you can better negotiate that. So before I was putting in, as each subject was mentioned, I was numbering the questions 1, 2, 3, but now I'm just numbering them as a whole. Okay, so for instance, if we finish off, at least we might not get there today, question 117. So that's the total amount of questions that we have been discussing since we started this section. And there's 141 questions. So we've still got a ways to go. Okay. So here we left off. Okay. We ready? Yes.
I was doing the questions before, like I was reading the book. But then I found it that I was missing out when everybody's talking. It's good to get my head into working, when everybody's doing it together instead of doing it earlier.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So here we go, Sudha Bhakti Chintamani. And these questions, I was just going over these questions. These questions in this section are very much on the theme of Sudha Bhakti Chintamani. The theme of hearing, when to hear, different stages, etc., what to hear, when to hear, etc. So anyway, here we go. Question 105. Is devotional service
progress
in ecstasy? What's another name for devotional service in ecstasy?
Sorry, I didn't hear it, Muli Prabhu.
Ananda.
Please not muted, so much disturbance.
No. Sorry, Gaya. Ananda, no.
Bliss.
No.
Paramananda.
No. It's a specific stage of devotion.
Baba.
Yes, Baba. Yeah. Whenever you see this mentioned in Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's referring to the stage of Baba. So Rupa Goswami defines devotional service in three categories: sadhana, bhava, and prema. So just something you can keep in mind. So is devotional service in ecstasy, quote bhava, in the category of practice or perfection?
Perfection.
Why is that?
Because you said wow, so they've already been practicing and have come to a platform where they're not too far from prema.
No,
Someone said no?
it's a little bit more because after Bhav,
Yeah,
prema doesn't come that very quickly, but perfection needs to be there more and more. Intimate Bhav should be there to reach prema.
Yes, so Mother Vishalni is saying actually it's not in the category of perfection. there's still a ways to go. And that's basically, yeah, I mean, as I said, there's 3 stages, sadhana, bhava, and prema. Let me just read here. Now, although bhava is the goal for us as sadhakas, we want to, we want this one ray of prema, yeah, and that's called bhava. It's, although it's not in, so in that sense, it's not considered in the category of sadhana, but it's also not considered to be in the category of perfection. So a bit of a trick question. It's kind of in the middle, as Nobu Shani, I think she correctly indicated. Because bhava is not actually, there's still some impediments there. There's still some impediments, although those impediments are more subtle. Yeah, it's more subtle. Generally, one still, there may be the effects of offenses there. And I was reading today that even the offenses can linger around even in the stages of prema. Amazing.
Yeah, we got examples, haven't we?
Yeah, he was at the specific stage of bhava. So,
well, I was thinking,
yeah.
Can we not like I was thinking to myself that because you're at bhav, okay, you have a long way to go, but isn't it part of beginning of perfection? Like you're going to go up, but is it like, all right, you're not perfect, but you're beginning at a stage. I don't know. I'm thinking to myself.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways you can categorize it, but Maharaj spends quite some time on this subject, actually. Even in his book, Sankava Kaumudi, he kind of speaks on this subject of bhava being kind of, it's definitely a bhava bhakta is different than a sadhaka. I mean, they've actually achieved the perfection in their sadhana. But yeah, it's still progressive. It's still progressive. Yeah, you still have to progress. Like prema, there's different stages in prema. So as we've discussed recently or recently understood is that going back to Godhead, that means having at least a seed, which means bhava, which means the seed of prema. And then you go back and you associate with, then you got the Boma Lila, where Krishna's executing these pastimes on earth. And then you gradually, and then you become elevated in prema. Even prema has different stages. Like that. Yeah. Okay.
But Murli Prabhu, Murli Prabhu, can I just add something saying that so we got a long way of all this. It seems like, my God, we're right at the bottom. How we gonna get to that stage?
That is
long time.
By practice prayer.
Yeah, we are practicing, but it's just when we listen to these classes and like you were just describing, and you just think, oh my God, so long to go. Krishna is not letting us give us a charm.
In one sense,
so many blessings still.
In one sense, as we mentioned before, that question or that mood, that's the type of mood that we want to be in, because that's like, it means at least we're becoming desirous of it. We're desirous of really obtaining it. But it should be understood as well is that practicing sadhana is an uphill struggle, because we got different impediments that is maybe weighing us down. Sometimes it's, especially, it depends if we're making offenses in our practice, then it can be like, you ever tried to run in water in a swimming pool? Tried to run? It's very difficult to run in water. But things happen quite fast at the stage of bhava. And then there's no impediments. Or there's less impediments. There's nothing much to hold you back, and everything happens quite quickly. So, and as we spoke yesterday as well, we're speaking about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and hearing about his perfections when he was leaving this world. You know? These things are open to us. We are following the process of pure devotion. You are all following the process of pure devotion. So according to our application, it's just a matter of time. In one sense, it's guaranteed if you practice it. That's the path we're following. So anyway, this comes up a lot in Sankalpa Kaumudi when we speak about Kripa as well, which is very important.
I remember when he was talking about ladders, rungs of ladders, like going up, we're going down, and then you're going up.
Yeah. Who was speaking?
About me.
Okay,
me.
Yeah. Right, so so let's not lose heart. We've made great progress from where we was, that's for sure. Now we're conscious of, to some degree, we know about the Gopis, Radharani, we know about Vrindavan, we have a spiritual master, we're chanting the holy name, we've heard of Lord Chaitanya, we're part of Lord Chaitanya's movement, and we've given up, we're following the principles, and we're reading, and we're gathered together reading and hearing. So this is all.
We're all doing that, but that's why Murli Prabhu sometimes I think Krishna should feel sorry for all of us who are, we are very, very serious, and so he should just say, oh well, give us a, give us some mercy.
You can make some personal prayers to Krishna in that regard.
I do constantly.
Yeah. So Krishna.
Is there one word called patient? Isn't that one of the things that we have to be?
Yeah, patience.
Definitely.
Yeah, nectar of instruction. What's the verse?
Yeah.
Anyone know? Utsaham nishtayat thayat. Yeah, let's be patient. And at the same time, a nice mood is that whatever Krishna feels fit to give us or not, we're going to serve him with loving devotion. We're going to serve him with attention. Whatever devotion we do have, then we're going to serve him with that devotion. We're going to be grateful for what Krishna has done. And Krishna, it's up to you. I'm going to, so I'm not, I am not obtained the seed of prema, bhava, but Krishna, I'm going to cook you a wonderful offering. I'm going to make you a wonderful garden. And I'm going to dress you really nicely. I want to be absorbed. I'm going to chant attentive rounds. No?
Yeah.
That we can decide to do.
Definitely. Thank you. Practice with bhava.
I ask a question, please?
Yes, we have the question. Nimai Mata as official question asker. Yes,
Prabhu,
you have to speak up louder, Mother. I can hardly hear you.
Oh my God. Okay. Is it better now, Prabhu?
Little bit better. Put your voice right close to the microphone if you have one.
Guy is saying no.
Okay.
So
go on.
how will I speak? I can't.
You can't hear you.
I was saying, are there stages in Baba as well?
Yes, there is stages in Bhava. There's Kanishta Bhav, there's Madhyam Bhav, and there's Uttam Bhav. Yeah.
So, Bharat Maharaj, what was his Bhava there, Prabhu?
Say that again.
Bharat Maharaj, King Bharat.
Yeah, what stage of Bhava was on? That I'm not sure, and those details are not given. But the fact is that he fell down. Will probably indicate it was the beginnings. I think it was a general Bhava as such, because he was his meditation was on Narayan. As far as I know, it was on Vishnu, and his omnipotence and omnipresence. So, for example, when Maharaj Bharat was chanting his Sandhya or his Gayatri, he was in ecstasy upon the sun's rising. Tears would come from his eyes about the just realizing the potency and the munificence and the kindness of Vishnu. So he was very much in awe and reverence of Vishnu's omnipotency. Yeah. And he was in ecstasy, in his sandhya, in his chanting of mantras. So he wasn't Baba Bhatta, as far as I understand, who was doing a Nam Bhajan of Krishna's pastimes.
Yeah.
His bhajan, as far as I can remember reading from Bhagavatam, was more on Vishnu and his manifestation and potency. I think, dare I say that, if I remember rightly. Yeah.
Thank
All right.
you.
So,
Prabhu, sorry, can I say?
yes, please.
Are there stages in association, stages in faith, and stages in ruchi, ashakti, everywhere? There are some stages that we go through.
Yeah, because the process itself is the process itself is not just when we say faith and shraddha and bhajan kriya or then anartha nivritti, it shouldn't we shouldn't have the picture one that we go from one abrupt stage to the next. The next no, it doesn't happen. It's like the sun rises gradually. It doesn't just shoot in the air, it's gradually. So in these stages, we shouldn't have the misunderstanding that on Tuesday where Nishta, and on Sunday we're going to get to Ruchi. No, it's good. And actually, I was having a reading today with one friend of mine, and he's given this one really nice example. These stages, all these 9 stages, they're all being nourished. So love, faith, for example, freedom from anarthas is all being nourished to different degrees at the same time. And he gave the example, just if you have different test tubes, okay, you just bear with me, you get different test tubes, and they're all connected. So as you fill up water in one, it rises to a certain level and goes into the next test tube. Yeah. So everything's rising. So for instance, faith, there's an aspect of, there's more faith increases at bhava, and it keeps on increasing, and it increases at nishta. It's going down now, it increases in nishta. So everything's being nourished. So in that sense, it's not just an abrupt moving from one stage to the next. It's all like the sun gradually rising. Just like time has its influence upon us in the form of aging. It's happening constantly. It's not abrupt. Did you follow Mother Vishwami?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Therefore, when someone gets to bhava, there's going to be different manifestations of that bhava and how it manifests. The same as nishta. When someone's steady, they're going to become more steady, and different symptoms will come as they become more steady. And ruchi, there's different types of ruchi. There's like one stage of ruchi is where if someone sings very nicely, you might have heard some of you this, if someone sings very nicely in tune and all the excellencies are there, they play the cartels nice and they got a nice voice, then one is maybe touched by ecstasy, or be touched by great feelings. So that's an immature nishta. I'm sorry, that's the immature ruchi. a more mature ruchi is that it doesn't matter who the damn singing or whether they're in tune or not. You're just in ecstasy because it's the holy name. And even if the devotee can't sing properly, he's completely out of tune. The devotee and more mature ruchi experiences great bliss, you know. And interestingly, I'm going off the track a little bit, but in a nice, loving way, Padavidya was, you know, because he's very concerned about in kirtan, everything just has to be just right, the instrument. So he often speaks of himself in that regard. You know, if someone's singing out of tune, then he has to leave the room. He can't stay there. It's too much for him, for his artistic sensibilities. But he was in a joking way saying, so yeah, we understand. That's a good example.
Yes, that's a good example.
Ruchi,
Yes.
and yeah, there's an immature and there's a more mature stage. Yeah, that's why Bhaktisiddhanta would deliberately have people who can't sing lead the singing sometimes. Just so devotees wouldn't be attached to the musical excellences, you know. So a lot of
Muli Prabhu, good point. Thank you.
That's a really good point. It just really dawned on me now, because you know, on Sanatan Goswami's disappearance there, and Vamsi was singing the 6 Goswamis.
Yeah.
You really got into it, and for a while you felt really, really nice. Yeah. But now you're not at that level. But because of the singing and the music, you got into that mood.
Yeah.
But you are not. So I can now understand, right?
Yeah, that's
but don't start thinking that, oh, I've got it, you know. Yes, really, you know, you're not.
Yeah, yeah. It should be
sometimes when they are singing, we are not listening to the words, we are just listening to the tune, the music, because it's good. It actually satisfies our sense, hearing sense, right? But when we are doing that and thinking about them, then the difference is there. That, oh wow, and what have they given us? How appreciative gratitude is there? That's when you start really want to hear more, even though it might be out of tune, you know, but it's the words and what it means and what they have given, and the gratitude should be there.
Sounds like Mother Shoni has some realization. Yeah, so there, someone's singing.
Yeah, please share with us.
No, it may not be the best singing, but what they're singing about is the Krishna. But it should be understood as well is that this doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to sing nicely if we have the ability. For instance, the highest, the perfection of singing is and dancing and is in the gopis. So they very much perfect it as well. So that's the other side as well. It doesn't mean that we don't, that devotees shouldn't try to do things nicely. But in the stage of ruchi, then someone will appreciate if it's done nicely or not. All right.
Thank you.
We are singing, we are calling out for Krishna. So how beautifully you call out. So that also additional attraction from the Lord. Of course, Lord likes whichever way you call.
Well, I guess in one sense, it's if you're sincere and you're calling out for Krishna, that's what Krishna wants as well.
So when you hear Sankirtan, if you
feel
like that, I think we will
actually, it's quite a big subject because it's coming to mind now that I think I heard one Purna Chandra or some senior devotee was speaking about how we chant Hare Krishna. And it should be attractive to Krishna. Of course, it should be attractive in sincerity. For instance, sometimes you hear some people chanting, and so you want to make sure that the words and the syllables are being pronounced and Krishna can be attracted to the sound vibration. That's another aspect as well. But
Mother Prabhu always says, call out, call out, call out for Krishna, call out.
Yeah, call out. Right. Well, we've done well so far. That's one question, half an hour. Fantastic. That's what we want to do, discuss these things. Well, let's kind of have a look at question 106. It's similar. If ecstatic devotion cannot be in the category of devotional service and practice, why are devotees in ecstasy called practitioners? So this is similar. Perhaps this might be difficult to get. So I'm just going to read here. It's connected to the first question. So how can devotees in ecstasy be called sadhakas? This is, in essence, the question.
Because they are not perfected.
Yeah.
Simple.
I'm just going to have to read here. The answer to this question lies in Rupa Goswami's description of perfect devotion, which is being described as free from material impediments. No material condition, including ignorance, aversion, indifference, attachment, and sensual attraction, can obstruct the flow of devotion to Krishna. Nevertheless, because the effects of previous offenses linger, this is the point, the effects of previous offenses linger even at the stage of bhava. Material impulses, as Srila Prabhupada calls them, are present, but they're present slightly. So sometimes they may interfere with the practice of ecstatic devotees, as we know about Bharat Maharaj Bharat. Yeah. And as already mentioned, Vishwanath analyzes of the nullification of offenses, concludes that reactions to offenses to advanced devotees linger after the stage of prema, what to speak of bhava. So it's in that sense that bhava bhaktas are also in the category of practitioners. So we've already concluded this. They still have things to overcome, but they're moving forward quite quickly. You know, they're not going up the hill; they're actually falling down the other side. They're kind of rolling down the other side, but there's some rocks and impediments there. So they're on, yeah, right. And this one this question 107. Some of you might know this. It's generally known. It comes up more often than not in those nectar devotion studies. Why is ecstatic devotion so rare? It's basically two reasons. Let me put it this way, it's rare in this world. It's rare in this world, but it's not so rare for those who practice in pure devotional service. But even then, of those practicing pure devotional service, not all achieve it in one life. Anyone can say why it's rare? Two reasons.
Is this ecstatic devotion like you are in a prema mode?
Barbara, this is Barbara again. So this, remember, we said, whenever you see this word, it means Barbara.
Yeah, that's Barbara. Okay, because I was thinking that in prema, Krishna doesn't give you pure love because he gets bound.
Yeah, that's basically, that's the answer. Because Barbara, in a sense, is a ray of prema. So in that sense, it's prema, but it's a little bud of it. Basically, it cannot be had by one's own efforts. And that comes up again in Sankalpa Kumudi. It's not within our control. We can, Krishna's grace is always needed, even to get out of bed in the morning. We need Krishna's mercy and grace. So it's always present there, even at the early stages of sadhana. But we can, for instance, with endeavor, we can follow the regular principles, and we choose to be determined in that. We can choose to be attentive, actually. believe it or not. It's within our choice. We can choose to be attentive. We can choose to do our service nicely with attention. But we cannot, through our practice of sadhana, achieve bhava by our own effort. So it's dependent on kripa, okay, dependent on mercy and grace. When Krishna sees our effort as sincere effort, yeah, and Krishna is reluctant to give it. Why? Because it's prema, and ultimately, it's Krishna is subservient to such love. Yeah. Just reading a bit here. Is there any more to add to this? Yeah, because ecstatic devotion is the first bud of love, devotion that eventually brings Krishna under his servant's control. He does not easily bestow it. So when will he bestow it?
When one is ready.
One's ready?
When totally surrendered to Krishna. Everything is Krishna, nothing else.
Yeah. But here, actually, you ready for this? It's when you cannot bear another day without Krishna's contact. You are burning in separation from Krishna and you're crying for Krishna's grace. Yeah. You give, and you're ready to leave this world unless you attain his mercy. So you're pretty, it's pretty, what's the word you say? It's pretty intense. What's the word? How can we describe this?
Desperate.
Sorry?
Desperate.
Desperate.
Desperate. Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah, it's your heart's day and every day. There's nothing else can give you joy in this world apart from wanting to attain Krishna's grace. You know. So that's what Maharaj writes here. Then soft-hearted Krishna, then he sees that, then he arranges for this a ray of prema to touch the devotee's heart. Yeah. Anyway, so we are moving in that direction.
Okay, so the question is, so Krishna doesn't want to be bound, but yet he still, because of love, right? But he still says that he's Bhakta Vatsal. He likes when the devotees orders him. So where are we going?
I better just ask that question again, sorry.
Okay, so Krishna does not give
Bhava easily.
Yeah.
It doesn't
easily,
come.
right?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, so he doesn't get bound, but yet
because it actually controls Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah, but yet he loves being controlled. He loves being controlled by gopis, Radharani. He loves being controlled by coward boys. Like, when he's playing, if he's going to Mother Yashoda, if they say, oh, you can't play with us, he's like, he loves being with. So how does that?
Well, who does he love being controlled by?
Who does he? Sorry.
Who is it he likes to be controlled by?
Radharani.
Pure devotees.
Those who love him. Like he loves to be controlled by Mother Yashoda, but he doesn't like to be controlled by Kamsa. That's for sure. Kamsa tried to, but he loves being controlled by the gopis and Mother Yashoda because of their love for him.
Yeah.
It's not just he likes being controlled. He is absolutely controlled. He has no independence in that. He gets to that point where he has no independence. Love completely controls him. Their prema controls him. I think there's a verse that Gaur Govinda Maharaj would often quote in Great Ecstasy that Krishna, Krishna's, where is Krishna? Oh, he's been taught to dance. He is dancing. He's been taught to dance by the love of Radharani. because she completely controls him. So yeah, that's what although Krishna is controlling the whole of creation, he's controlling everyone and everything in the whole of creation, all the millions of universes. He's actually helplessly controlled by Radharani, by Mother Yasoda, and he likes it, and he doesn't have the ability to actually resist it. It's very much control. So that's the type of love that actually controls him. Prema.
Yeah, Mulipur, can I just add as well? What you said is so true, and as well, once you get to the stage, and actually, Krishna is so much controlled by his, his devotee. Then obviously he just, So it's amazing when you get to that stage. It would be so lovely that Krishna is just so much loved with his devotee all the time, and controlled by him. They'll do anything for him,
So that is why it's not going to be given out readily, because it does control Krishna. Yeah, that's not going to. Yeah.
But we also love him. I mean, we go out of our way to do things for him.
Yeah.
You'll get.
Yeah. So therefore, Krishna is making his effect in our lives, one way or another. Krishna is assisting and helping us, for sure. But to actually get to the stage where we can actually control Krishna, that means prema. Only prema can do that. Nishta can't do that. Ruchi can't do that. The Shakti can't do that.
What about Bhava?
Even Bhava, prema. Yeah, the highest stages of Bhava, which is prema, controls Krishna.
Does Amazon sell prema? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, afraid not.
Yeah, can we try that, please? Let's, ask the Amazon if they have any prema.
Oh, you have to have. What do you have to pay for it? What are you going to pay?
Love for Krishna. That's all.
Greed,
We only know that. We don't.
Total surrender.
How much greed do you
don't have any?
How much greed? This is how you can purchase Krishna. How much greed? How much lobha?
Yeah.
How much you really want?
Yeah, hankering.
Yeah.
Hankering for him.
So
we want him so desperately, but he's just not at the moment ready for us, I suppose.
Quick, let's ask another question. Okay. How is it that the activities of devotional service in practice, which are performed by the physical body in time and space, can be the cause of something? Mr. wrote there, something beyond time and space. All right, so anyone can. Any ideas of what direction we're going here with this question? This question is really dealt with again Sankappa Moody.
Something transcendental and eternal.
Okay, you've got it. How can it be something transcendental and eternal?
So, can I ask a question, please?
You can answer a question.
Yes.
Did you answer the question?
Just speaking about all these stages and everything, Nityananda Prabhu says, you need faith, just by the holy name. So it's all about Krishna. So as we are the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so we are totally depend on his mercy. So our path should not be this difficult, isn't it, Prabhu? Because we are mercy cases.
Yeah, And just the very fact that we discuss about Vrindavan and discuss about Navya Soda, and we know about the pastime to one degree and another, and to some degree we have attraction to these, that is only due to the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's the one who's broken that storehouse and shared a very unique type of prema, which is in Krishna's personal abode. He has made known something very, very confidential, something very, very not shown, not given. So yeah.
I was thinking, everything in chanting attentively holy name. If we do that, we this is that is the only difficulty we. I don't know. I'm talking about myself. I can't. If I fully attentively, if I know that I'm doing 100% attentive chanting, so these all will come
Yeah,
online.
that's when the process starts to work, if we're attentive to it.
Yeah.
That's when the chanting will have effect, if we're paying attention to it. If we're not paying attention, then there's a disconnect there. But if we're paying attention, that's when it's going to clean the heart. That's when it's going to, yeah, that's how we can advance. But this question here, and just looking at my notes, and I haven't written the answer here, but I've got some idea, I think. Maybe a difficult one to, this question in essence is being asked as well in the personified Vedas. This question is not exactly the same, but more or less the same type of question. So basically, quoting more from Sankarbhakam Modi, is that the activities by the physical body in devotion are not ordinary activities. Just like if you take iron and you put it in a fire, it becomes like fire. So in the same way, the activities of bhakti are transcendental. So if we're in the right consciousness, when we engage in these activities, our physical body, our senses become spiritualized. And to that degree, they become spiritualized, then to that degree, we can realize Krishna, who is beyond eternal, who is transcendental and beyond time and space. It's a fact. Atashi Krishna namadi nabhavet griham indriya. We cannot understand Krishna with our materially molded senses. But this verse, who knows this verse? Atashi Krishna namadi nabhavet griham indriya svinmukhi jivado spayam eva spayati hatha. Anyone knows the translation to this verse? It describes simply, yeah, we don't, but simply by speaking about Krishna and taking Krishna Prashadam, then we become, our senses become spiritualized. And then we can understand Krishna. Yeah. Then it can cause something transcendental. Does that make sense? That's just a short answer to a chapter which was in Sankarbhakam Modi. A lot more details is given, but I can't remember them all now. Yeah. Okay, what's the time? Just gone 1:45.
Can we say it like, I'm just thinking to myself, like, yeah, that question, like, how we practicing with this body in time and space, meaning like as we doing devotional activities, And then with the same activities, we'll come to a stage when it'll be transcendental.
Yeah, as we become progressively spiritualized.
Yes. So
Just
I'm breaking it down to my understanding.
Yeah, that's it. Like Marge gives the example that I think I've given it here as well. Like we have cleaners, and we're paying cleaners to clean our stairs, and we have devotees clean a temple room. So those are cleaning the stairs. They're cleaning the stairs. They're getting some, I guess you could say, some benefit, but because they're not Krishna conscious, then they're not going to taste ecstasy or Krishna conscious. So they're doing something with their senses, but their mind is not in the right place. They're not doing it with a sense of bhakti. So therefore, they can clean the stairs for a million years, and they're not going to get Krishna prema, you know. But if their mind is there, if they're doing it under the orders, the direction of the spiritual master, and are doing it in that sense, as in the sense of devotion, one becomes ecstatic. So for the process of bhakti to actually work, we have to actually be mindful that we're doing it for Krishna. Yeah, we're doing it under the order of the spiritual master. Then then we can spiritualize. Even cleaning, even pushing a broom across the floor could be a completely spiritual activity. Yeah. As Marge speaks more about this. So, that's how the activities of devotional service and practice performed by the physical body can cause something, can bring you in touch with Krishna, who's transcendental. All right, that was question 108. Where am I? Which slide am I? Yeah, here we go here. So this question, yeah, these are the questions we missed last week, okay? These questions, we missed these. And I might have correctly noted that, so we've gone back on those questions. And we're here now. Yeah, did someone say something then? There was a question, or was that just a unmute?
Yeah, Murli Prabhu, I was
please.
thinking while you asked that question, I was thinking about,
yes.
Let's say, I'm coming more from the integrity of a devotee. You mentioned this, and it's quite interesting that you've said that devotional, it's the consciousness that's more important while doing the service. Yeah. But then there's another flip to the coin, which I'm thinking about integrity. So my question is, let's say, I don't know if you've heard of Abdul Kalam. He was the president of India, and he's supposed, he's a devotional person, but not completely Krishna conscious, but has done a lot of philanthropic work, a proper sadhu in all sense. Yeah. And then you have, so that's him on one side of the weighing scale, and on the other side you have a new bhakta who has joined into the temple, notorious for causing offenses, notorious for doing, has integrity issues, character issues. So when it comes there, who is better? The fact that he's a bhakta who's got, whose character, and another person who is not necessarily completely surrendered in Krishna consciousness, of the two, but a much better human being, highly evolved soul.
Yeah, actually, Mars speaks about this, if I can remember. He actually, it's an interesting question because he actually directly speaks about this. And try and remember, he bring in this here, sort of up to the time, if I can remember rightly. But it's a fact. So who is better situated? You have a cultured person, you have a pious person, you have a cultured person, and then you have someone from the West who takes up the process of bhakti, but they're quite rough around the edges, as you're mentioning. They don't really, because of their conditioning, because of the culture or lack of culture thereof that they've been brought up in, they may not know how to function properly in a sattvic environment. So who is better situated? actually the person who, the Sadhu devotee who is, you know, on rough around the edges, he is actually, he or she is coming with a certain conditioning, yeah, and they're coming with it. They're coming with some baggage. They're coming with, you could say, we call them issues or conditioning, but they're coming to the glorious path of pure devotional service. So these things are in the process of perhaps in the first stage being revealed, and then and despite, you know, if they're sincere, so some devotees are sincere, but they're just, you know, they've got quite some rough edges, but they are practicing the process of pure devotional service. Yeah. So with guidance and with care, and you get loving care and guidance, these persons can actually make advancement on the path of pure devotional service. Yeah. But often, so, but then you got the pious person who comes to the temple. They're very polite, etc. At least from what we see, but they may not be able to distinguish mixed devotion from a pure devotion. You understand? And that they may be coming to the temple for all types of reasons, which is different than what the say the devotee coming from a rough background. He's coming to the temple because he's been, at some point, he's been touched by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Okay, he's pretty rough, but he's in the temple and he wants to get purified. But then he got the pious person, as you mentioned, but they may be, well, all types. I mean, they probably come to the Krishna temple. They probably go to all other Durga temple, Shiva temple, and they may be very pious, and they do this and do that. But they on the path of pure devotion. Any comments on that, Sudama? No.
But Prabhupada's earlier disciples were a bit like that.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah,
and they were reformed by Prabhupada. So
yeah, that's a very very good example. So there you go. The devotees who first took to Krishna consciousness were not exactly cultured were not exactly come from a cultural background, but they taken it in all sincerity and all earnest. They took to the process of Krishna consciousness. Any comment?
So as I understand, somebody who's causing offenses, who has integrity problem, maybe stealing money from the temple, and, you know, kind of rocking the boat around, that person is much better from a point of Krishna or than somebody who's, you know, having thousands of followers.
Well, it very much depends upon the degree, because you brought out some examples there of stealing. You brought an example.
Yeah.
So that's a different subject. If someone is actually not, if someone is not willing to change, if someone is deliberately, or someone is offending devotees, and there's no repentance about that, then now that's a different type of person.
Okay.
And they're stealing. But if you're speaking about a person who is, you know, devotee, classic devotee who joins the temple, and sometimes they get in a right bad mood, you know.
No, I'm not. That was not what I was. That's fine. Nobody's perfect, but at least the intention is sincere. I'm not talking about somebody whose intention is, who's just come into the movement, who's fascinated by everything, but, you know, left, right, and center causing offenses, but they are doing what they're doing, you know. Yeah. Okay. I kind of got an idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But if someone comes, you know, they're deliberately, they're offending devotees left, right, and center, and they're stealing, that's different. They should not be in the temple. Although I heard, I just heard the other day, I forget where I heard it, but yeah, I was listening to Bhakti Vikash Maharaj. He was doing questions and answers with Manidhar Prabhu, and they brought up Bhakti Vikash Maharaj remembered the specific name of the devotee. This was in Calcutta, or no, this was in Mumbai, and he came and he came specifically to steal from the devotees. And he did steal from the devotees, and he got caught. And the police were called in, and Prabhupada said, give him a chance. So they gave him a chance, and he stole again, you know. So Prabhupada gave him a chance. And actually, he ended up becoming a devotee, and he's still there now. And he tells a story of how Prabhupada was so merciful to him, although he came to thieve. He actually got Prabhupada's mercy, and Prabhupada forgave him. He got association with devotees. And, he gave up his thieving ways. And it's quite a unique story.
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada would have known what he would be like.
Well, Srila Prabhupada may have known or may not, but the thing is that Krishna empowered Prabhupada to act in a certain way. Yeah. Prabhupada gave, I know was Krishna inspired Prabhupada to reach out to this person and give him some grace and mercy. Yeah.
He must be having all good qualities except this is his weakness, basically. Sometimes, even I heard Gauranga or somebody, Chopati Temple, they said somebody is stealing, and that person has that stealing feeling. At last, what he did, he didn't steal, he was changing. Somebody's bag in somebody's place, somebody's bag is another place.
That story's there as well. That he couldn't give up the propensity, so he went on.
Yeah.
He went on pilgrimage to purify himself, and on pilgrimage, everyone was taking rest. And normally, before he would pilfer their bags, but this time he didn't pilfer their bags. He just moved the bags around. They made it step. Everyone woke up. All right.
So that is.
Yeah. Let's pause there then. Well, nice discussion today. We covered 4 questions. Very good. And
can I just
yes,
can I quickly about the link? So the Bhakti Chintamani, can
I can't hear you. Someone's unmuted, and I'm hearing 2 conversations. Okay, try again.
I told everybody to use same link for Sudha Bhakti Chintamani every week. So I don't have to keep.
Yeah, this is the one that we used today, because the one we used before, I had it up to a certain date, and then it ran out. So now we've had to create a new one, which lasts for 10 weeks. So if you use this link now each week for this Sudha Bhakti Chintamani. Okay.
No, I'm thinking this is it costing you, isn't it, to do the linking and all that?
No, it's I'm with the temple. The temple has an account with Zoom.
Okay, otherwise do we need to
No. Temple, I mean, we have a business account with Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, which deals all, it's okay.
Maybe we might give you a penny a week. Sorry.
Just a chance to hear and chant about Krishna.
Okay,
all right, so tomorrow.
Tomorrow's link, you will is it going to be the same as last week's?
Yeah, now tomorrow I have to confirm about tomorrow's class. I'll try and confirm as soon as possible tomorrow, early on, because I'm cooking the Mongoladi sweets, and so I don't know what shape I'll be in at that time. But anyway, I should let you know.
You only got to hear the reading.
Yeah. Let's see. Anyway, I've got I'm planning. What time's the class tomorrow? It's at 5 o'clock, isn't it?
5 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if I can finish on time. That's my main thing. Means
you will.
Yeah. Okay. I've been blessed.
Start
on time.
12 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Muli Prabhu. His grace, Muli Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hari, everyone.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
We don't want to miss the class.